Okay, but sit over here.
What do you want me to say on this here, Cam?
So what would you just telling me about how when you was a high school dropout and you was working where, Dixie Narco?
Dixie Narco.
You were telling me why you joined the Army.
I was working at Dixie Narco. A guy come up to me in the plant and told me to teach him everything I could about the plant, all the different jobs in our department. And then he told me, don't get mad at him, because he was going to be the new section chief. And I said, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be the new section chief. But then they told me if I got rid of my wife, which my wife is black, that I would go a long ways in the plant. So I told them I'll teach him everything I can in the next 2 weeks, because I gave my 2 weeks notice.
Now this Dixie Narco, what did they make?
Pop machines.
The soda machines, the vending machines, what we call them now.
Well, we made pop machines.
So the company that makes the soda machines, that everyone in America has probably used one of these machines. You can tell that it's from Dixie Narco because as a little kid you used to show us everywhere we went around the country, hey, I put the refrigeration in it, because you can tell based on the little silver tag that was on the sign. It was like a plate.
Yep.
And it said Dixie Narco, Ranson, West Virginia, right? So this was a major company that almost every single American has used one of their machines to get a soda out of that machine. And what you're telling me is the factory that was here in West Virginia, they were telling you that you can never be promoted because you were married to a black woman.
That's right.
A bunch of Americans don't even know that level of racism in the United States of America.
Yep.
And every soda that they probably bought from one of those machines at every store, they probably contributed to that and didn't even know it.
So then
Yep.
you quit and then you did what?
So tell us what happened next.
So I quit and went to work on a trash truck so I could go to night school and get my GED so I could join the Army. Then when I joined the Army, they took a 135-pound kid and they turned me in 8 weeks, they turned me into 185 pounds of muscle.
So, but why did you go into the Army though? Why didn't you just go to a different company?
I wanted to learn, I wanted to better myself, and when I got in the Army, I found out that everything was integrated. It didn't matter if you were Mexican, black, white, Oriental, it didn't matter. If you had a black wife, if you had a Hispanic wife, if you had an Oriental wife, you were all green, you were Army. And that's why I loved the Army, and I learned stuff. I learned to work on missiles, generators, diesel engines, M110 howitzers, 5.48, trucks, deuce and a halves, Jeeps, pickup trucks. I learned to work on all this equipment. I learned something every day in the Army. I learned something new. And I just progressed and just learned and learned and learned. And they taught me how to read better, and they taught me how to comprehend better. And they really trained me, and I loved the Army. And it turned me into a man.
Nice. So now that you're in West Virginia, hey.
Elijah, 1 second.
Hey, you see people giving his testimony? Hey, curly head. Boy, got some real curly hair there. So now that you're back in West Virginia, how many years ago was that when you went to the Army? That was like 78, right?
I went in 78. I was in till 84. Then I was recalled for Desert Storm and Desert Shield in 1989. And I stayed in till 93. And I got caught in a drawdown with Clinton. They did a drawdown, and I wasn't allowed to stay in the military to finish out my career.
So, but now that you're in West Virginia, from 1978 to now, how is it in West Virginia when it comes to the racism thing?
It's like gone. It's integrated. There is racism here, especially between the police and the blacks and the Hispanics. There's racism, but It's more.
But why is that? But
integrated.
why the cops though? Instead of it being like blacks against whites and whites against black, because I hear people say it's cops against blacks, the cops against Hispanics. So why you think the cops, and you got experience because you had some cops that came against your family and eventually came out that they were racist and they got taken off the force. Well, why do you think that is?
They're racist. They just don't like blacks and Hispanics. And they just didn't like them, and they abused them, and they hurt them, and they treated them unfairly.
Why do you think that is though? Like, what could they gain by that?
I don't know what they could gain by that. Just hatefulness.
Evil, huh? But it's kind of weird considering in Mom's side of the family, the first African American sheriff of Jefferson County, the first African American bailiff for the entire state. So our family had some roots in the police department. So what happened since, what's his name, Robert, right?
Robert Carr.
What happened since Robert Carr?
I don't know. I don't know about all that, Corey.
Shut it down.